Welcome back to Up Front. Yet another Democrat has joined the 2018 race for governor. Mahlon Mitchell is the president of the Professional Firefighters of Wisconsin. A Madison firefighter, he first came to prominence in the fight over Act 10 when he made an unsuccessful bid for lieutenant governor in the recall elections of 2012. There are now nearly a dozen Democrats seeking to unseat Republican Governor Scott Walker next year. And Mahlon Mitchell joins us now on Up Front. Welcome back to the program.
Thank you for having me, Mike. I watch you every time before Meet the Press, just so you know.
I appreciate
every
that.
Sunday.
In Madison, I appreciate that. So give me a sense of how you separate yourself from this rapidly growing pack.
Well, it's we have, like you said, we have a heck of a lot of people that are running, and I think that's a good thing. It shows that there's energy and excitement to unseat Governor Walker, and it's time for a change. I mean, Governor Walker has had 8 years to lead this state. He hasn't done it. It's time for us to turn a page. It's time for us to put people over politics, quite frankly. Governor Walker ran for president, and God bless him for that. But now he's come back to us for Plan B, essentially a fallback plan. And now he's asking for 4 more years, year 9, 10, 11, and 12. And I think it's time for a change within our state.
Give me a sense, when you say change, what big change would you want to see? Give me an example.
Well, there's a lot of them. I think we actually have to make sure the people of Wisconsin are first. We need to make sure that we raise wages. We haven't done that. We have the highest and the fastest shrinking middle class in the country. We need to put more onus in apprenticeships and job training to make sure we stabilize and actually grow our economy the right way, from the bottom up. We need to actually adequately fund education. You can't take $1.6 billion out of education in your first 2 budgets, and then your last budget, put $600 million in and call that progress. We're still in the hole. Healthcare, we didn't take the Medicaid expansion. We need to make sure that every person in the state of Wisconsin, every Wisconsinite has the ability to go to the hospital. There shouldn't be kids that can't go to the hospital because their parents can't afford it. There shouldn't be seniors that have to choose between actually buying prescription drugs or taking care of their mortgage or their electric bill. And lastly, I'm sorry, Mike, but lastly, we need to make sure we take care of our infrastructure and our roads, because we have a crumbling infrastructure, and we need to put the people of Wisconsin first.
So one of your concerns is stagnant wages and helping the middle class. And so you have Foxconn. You're against the Foxconn deal, and yet that deal is going to potentially create thousands of middle-class jobs. How can you not support Foxconn if you're concerned about the middle class?
Well, look, here's the deal with Foxconn. Foxconn is a massive giveaway of $3 billion of taxpayer, hard-paying taxpayers' money to a foreign company. Now, if we're going to do that, I'm not against growing jobs. I'm not even against government being involved in making sure jobs grow and making sure that we take care of every Wisconsinite and that everyone has a decent wage and a wage that can support a family. But you can't say that we can't properly fund education, we can't properly fund our roads and infrastructure, that we can't take care of everybody when it comes to health care, and then in the same breath say, but we have $3 billion to give to a foreign company. Let's take that money and invest in actually the people that are here in the state of Wisconsin. We had Oscar Mayer. They were in Madison. That was close to 1,000 jobs gone in the blink of an eye. Let's invest in the farmers and agriculture. Let's invest in actually small businesses. I don't think that the government should be involved in picking winners and losers. We actually have to invest in everybody. And then, if we invest in all these things, in education, infrastructure, we don't have to worry about companies wanting to come here or giving a company a golden parachute to come here. They will come here because we are doing the right thing, and we have the best worker in the country in Wisconsinites, and they will want to come here because of our investments.
A lot of Democrats say we should get rid of the agriculture and mining, manufacturing tax credit, that helps people who are wealthy. It doesn't do a lot to create jobs. Do you favor something like that, getting rid of that tax credit?
Look, everyone's got to pay taxes. I believe in order for it, when we pay taxes, it should be fair. And I don't believe that we should be in, the position of picking winners and losers. I believe in giving incentives to businesses to grow here, incentives in startups, companies, and venture capital to grow here. But I think we have to make sure if we're going to invest in businesses, in manufacturers, in agriculture, we also have to invest in startups and venture capital, and also invest in apprenticeship programs and job training programs. There's a lot of jobs out there that are not being filled because we're not investing in the people of the state of Wisconsin.
So what did you learn from 2012? You ran a competitive bid for lieutenant governor in 2012 in the recall elections. What did you learn from that you're going to put to use in this race?
Well, I learned that I don't like losing, so I'm here to win. But I mean, I learned that getting around the state, what people really want is to know about the issues. It's not just a one issue. You can't be a one-trick pony, so to speak. People want to talk about the economy and growing jobs. People want to talk about what is happening at their kitchen table. But at the end of the day, we have to unite our state. Our state is divided more than ever. I'm a leader. I'm a firefighter by trade. I believe that I can lead the state in a different direction, bring us together. We're going to rise together. We're going to succeed together. And we can only do that by actually putting the people of Wisconsin first. I was born and raised in Wisconsin. My kids are here. My daughter goes to UW Oshkosh. I want to retire here. And I want to make sure this is a good place for my kids to retire as well.
Mahlon Mitchell is one of the Democratic candidates for governor. We appreciate your time. Thanks for being back on the program. Our editorial partner, WisPolitics.com, has coverage of the race for governor and U.S. Senate in 2018. You'll find it on the election blog at WisPolitics.com. Coming up next, the nation's first transgender lawmaker and how Milwaukee County Executive Chris Abele helped get her elected.